Hey everybody! In today's tutorial, I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole that I went down recently into making super duper fun hidden paper clips. And I've seen a million ways to do that, maybe not a million, but I've seen a lot of ways to do these. But what I'm going to show you is my favorite 10 all in one video. So you can watch one video and have 10 different ideas. Now, these are going to be sped up quite a bit, and the thing about all of these paperclip ideas is they're based on the size of your paperclip. So you don't need measurements, but if you want measurements, I will have a PDF available to people that want those. But as you watch me go through this, and you look carefully at the folds, you're going to see that it's just based on where the long side or the short side of a paper clip is, and you don't need to worry about it too much. So I've sped this up 3 times, and you'll see why. It's kind of a long video, but I will talk you through each of these 10 ideas. So we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 is a jumbo paperclip idea, and we are going to fold this down. This is going to be the short side of the paperclip, and I'm going to put some score tape on it. And you just want to fold it down and put some glue on it so that the long side of the paperclip is even with that first fold on the back. So you can see, you can just eyeball it if you want. Start at the top of a strip of paper of any width and line it up with the bottom of the long side of the paper clip. So now I am using a gel glue here, and what I'm going to do is just slip the second flap behind the short side of the paper clip. If you want to, you can glue the edges closed, which is what I'm doing here, but it's going to attach fine even without that glue. Now I have a piece of deli paper attached to a piece of cardstock that I just slide into all of these just to make sure I didn't get any extra glue there, and that they'll work as bookmarks or as journal clips or whatever you want to use them for. So I'm just going to decorate the front with these cute little Halloween items. And now you have a perfectly enclosed, adorable bookmark, journal mark, any kind of little clip that you want. Now we move on to number 2, which is so simple. This can be done either by folding a single piece of paper in half, or in this case, I'm using 2 tickets. But this little paperclip idea is great for shaped items. I'll have another shaped item idea for you later on. But with the tickets, you can leave the paperclip up a little bit, and that will let you put some ribbon on there. I'm going to put some ribbon on a few later on. But on this idea, the paper clip is actually going to be not hidden. So the paper clip is on the back of one of the tags, but then on the front, all you're going to see in your journal or your book is this cute little ghost ticket. He's just adorable. So the open part of the paper clip will slip over the back. Now this one is one that I call the W method. So the paper clip goes over the mountain fold in the center of essentially a W-shaped strip of paper. So on this side, you can see I've got the short side of the jumbo clip on one side of the W, and I'm folding the loose flap up and gluing that to the back of the paper clip, what I'm calling the back, the short side. And then on this side, you can see that that sticks up just a little bit, but it's really totally hidden from the front. You can see on this side, again, the dimensions of this piece of paper are meant to come up to the bottom of the long side of the paper clip. So don't overthink these. You really don't need to measure. You just need to fold, and you can trim off any excess if you want. I like this one because it leaves a little flap in the front that makes it easier to show people where it's going to go over your paper, so where it's going to go over your book page or your journal page. That little unevenness in the front really helps just as a visual aid, and also for slipping the paper in there. It makes it easier. So that paper clip is totally hidden. The W1 is very simple. Now this one is going to have 2 pieces, and we're going to use a little bit of ribbon on this one. So when you position your paper clip, again, this is a strip of any width, really any length. And I'm just positioning the paper clip up higher a little bit so it sticks up. Then I have a second larger piece of paper that's going to hide everything. Again, this can be any size. And I've cut a little slit in the crease that paper clip is going to stick out of. And that's going to let me put some ribbon in there and just make it super duper cute. Then I'm just going to decorate the front of this. This is so simple. This is 2 folded pieces of paper. So I'm adding some more little Halloween embellishments to the front. There's a little ticket that says scary. And I actually trimmed off the front piece a little bit shorter so I could have that same effect I did on the last one, where there's a little lip to show people how to put it on the page. So I put the little pink ticket and I'm adding this tiny little gold bat and putting my magnets down to glue that down. Now that was a little sneak peek for you of some of the ones that are coming up, but no spoilers. Don't get too far ahead. So here's this one, and I'm going to take just some seam binding and pull a little loop through the paper clip and then pull the ends of the seam binding through the loop. And then that's going to give it a really cute finish. These are adorable in journals. I stuck this one on a piece of acetate because I was running out of room. Now this one is really fun because you can do 5 at once. It's sort of similar to the W fold, but it actually, again, is based on the length of the short side of the paper clip. And you're going to see why it's the short side, not the long side. So I have a larger piece of paper and I've spaced these paper clips out with the short side touching that bottom fold. You can see that. And I'm going to tape these down with a little bit of score tape. This is just for a little extra insurance while I'm putting it together. This is not to adhere it. You always want to adhere these with glue. So I'm actually just going to flip that over, and this is such thick paper, it's not really going to stick to that. I'm going to be able to lift it back up. But you can see the long side of the paper clip on this side, and I'm going to tape those down and pick that up, add some glue, and then this little tiny strip here, you just want to leave yourself a little bit up at the top, because we want to completely enclose these paper clips. These are going to be really magical. You're not going to know there's a paper clip in there at all. So you just want about 1/4 of an inch to cover up that top part of the paper clip. And then we're going to keep folding like this. And it's going to leave me that little shorter edge again that makes it easier to catch the page. But this is a really fun one because you get so many at once, and it's a great way to use up all that paper that you've been hoarding, because I see everything and I know you're hoarding the paper. This was actually a very hard piece of paper for me to cut. It's really pretty, and Halloween is my jam. And remember, if you have paper that's directional like this, so these little cauldrons, they're oriented a certain way, these clips can go on any side of the page. They can go on the bottom of the page, on the bottom of your art journal. They can come in from the side. So depending on the orientation of the pictures on your paper, these can go anywhere in your art journal or being used as a bookmark. So don't worry too much about that orientation. You could also just add a little embellishment to cover that up if they're going 2 different ways. So now these are completely enclosed. And all I'm doing is taking some stronger scissors and I'm cutting in between the paper clips. These don't all have to be the same size. Mine are roughly the same size. But you can see I have 5 of them now. And they're so cute. I love them. If you need to trim off a little excess, if there's some paper that didn't quite get folded right, this is pretty thick paper. You can do that. Now this one is going to have a little pocket. This is another really simple one with half of the paper clip showing. I have this so the short side of a jumbo paper clip is on the inside of just a little tri-fold. Again, any size is fine. And I'm going to remove the adhesive and add glue to fold the larger flap down on top of the paper clip. So get a bunch of really good glue on there. And then to make the pocket, you'll just want to glue two sides. And then this can go in your art journal and have little ephemera sticking out of it, or you can have a little journaling card, however you want to do that. So just a thin line of glue on either side of this pocket. Now this one is so simple, it's just a tri-fold, so the paper clip will actually be visible on the back. Now this one I call the Matchbook style. This is so easy. It is essentially a matchbook fold, which all of you card makers have done a million times. And the paper clip is just simply sandwiched under a top layer of paper. That's it. No magic here. So glue the matchbook part down, again, any size, doesn't matter. And then the paper clip goes over the folded top part. Now you don't want to glue that part down because that's where it's going to go onto your page. So I'll just adhere the cover by securing the paper clip with the strong double-sided tape. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to position the front piece with glue on it first, just to make sure I get that edge lined up on the bottom. Because I can adjust the fold that goes over the crease, but I can't really change where it's going to land on the front once that's glued down. So another little piece of tape and the insurance of glue, which you must have. Put that on the top layer, not the bottom layer, so you don't have excess. And there you have a completely enclosed matchbook style little clip. Now I'm going to embellish this one with this cute little kitty. It's so cute. And she's the perfect size for the front of this. So I'll just glue this down and then I'll show you how that looks as a clip. And depending on where you put the paper clips, some of them, the page that you're putting it on will go all the way to the top of the clip. Some of them will not. Some of them will have a little tab that makes it easier to get off. Just free format. Now, this is one of the other shaped ones. This is just circle dies. This is a 2-inch circle die, and I've positioned the paper clip sticking up a little bit like I did with the ticket so that I can add some ribbon. And then on the back, the paper clip is exposed. So this will go onto your book page as just a circle, be very cute, with a little more seam binding at the top that hides the rest of the paper clip. The lowly paper clip is getting a real workout here. Now I have a little sentiment strip that says Wicked, and it's a little bit too long, so I'm just going to center the words on the tag, and this glue gives me lots of forgiveness to move around. So I'll move that around and then trim off the edges, and you can see how that looks on a book page. So cute. Okay. Now this one is sort of a combination of a couple of different ones. The W fold, which is very similar to the other one. And again, you're going to put the paper clip on the mountain portion of the W fold. But this one is also going to have a pocket similar to the other one. And the rest of the paper clip will be completely enclosed. So once you have it on really the second and third folds in, if that helps you think of it that way. You put the paper clip down. It's going to line up with the bottom of that next fold. And then I'm going to secure the other side of it with tape. This really just makes them super professional and really holds them together for eternity. And then one more fold to cover up the top of the paper clip that was sticking out just a little bit. And this one has a little shorter lip just because we're matching it to the size of the paper clip again. So it has that shorter lip where it's going to slide over. And sorry, I'm off camera a little bit here. But the last part is just to adhere the two sides of the pocket portion that's left over. Again, you can change these sizes, but you'll be left with a little strip. And the clip part will be on the back, and you can use that little strip as a pocket. Now this one is another one that's sort of similar to the W fold. I decided to make this one really tiny, and it starts the same way as the last one with you're going to glue the little end piece up over the second and third folds that the paper clip is over. I made this one a little bit shorter. Doesn't matter. It can go all the way to the top. It's very similar to the last design. And this is just a narrow, I think this is a 1/2 inch piece of paper. And then I'm putting glue around the paper clip. We're going to fold it over again. And then that top flap is going to cover up the top of the paper clip, just like our last one. So I'm gluing that down. And again, that one's a little bit shorter. So it's going to give us a little lip for our paper clip to go over the top of the paper. I just clamped it. And now I'm going to add a shaped element to the top. So this can be a pre-cut die cut like I have here, which is a little poison bottle. It can be a stamp and die combo that has a shape, but this is just a really fun way to hide your hidden paper clip. So it's like a double hidden paper clip. And that is number 10. So that is 10 different ways to create hidden paper clips. I will, if you have to have measurements, I will put measurements in a PDF along with the folds, and I will link to that below. But here are all 10 versions, and remember on number 5, I had 5 separate clips that came out of that. So this is a compilation of all of these adorable little hidden paper clips / bookmarks that are kind of the best of the ones that I've found going down this little rabbit hole. So thanks so much for watching.